Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer. Welcome to Mail Monday, a weekly I almost forgot what I was doing. A weekly series that's not so much about the gameplay, but instead is about your questions and my answers to them. Let's do this. Hair advice. Alright, here's the deal. I'm 20 years old and currently at university. I'm British. And pretty much since I turned 18, my once normal hairline has started to recede noticeably. Now, I know guys who won the gene lottery such as yourself don't have to worry about this problem, but I was watching the last PKA in which he mentioned it, and it got me thinking about my own situation. Believe me, I've read hundreds of articles on hair loss and its symptoms. By the way, when he says symptoms, I think he means its causes here. Stress, increased testosterone, hereditary, and for the most part, I can identify with them. Stressful deadlines, working out, family baldness, etc. I've got a normal social life and sex life, but my receding hairline is definitely starting to impact my self-esteem and confidence. I'm constantly thinking about how other people react to my all too noticeable hairline when I know I shouldn't, and 99% of people don't care. It's not just around peers that I'm starting to notice my confidence drop either. In situations such as job interviews and doctor's appointments, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable in my own skin, or hair, a feeling I haven't felt in a very long time. I've heard you saying that the right thing to do is to shave it off, and although I do keep my side shaved, I don't think I could pull off the totally badass shaved look. So that's it, really. A guy who should be embracing the peak of his young life, totally carefree, but who wakes up most mornings thinking about anything he can do to reverse nature's decision. I'd really appreciate it if you could offer me any advice. Thanks for taking the time to read this. If you wish to do so, then you're more than welcome to use it on Mail Monday. Yeah, man, I feel you. It's super easy for people who don't lose their hair, whether they be girls or lucky guys, to underestimate how traumatic it is for those who do. I saw this interview with Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart, for those that don't know, is the actor that plays Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, and he's widely regarded as this like super sexy bald guy, and everyone thinks he's awesome and it's cool. And they asked him about losing his hair, and he said, "Look, you know, it was in my 20s, and it was one of the most traumatic experiences I ever went through. I didn't immediately embrace the whole sexy bald guy thing. It was hard on him. I worked with a guy, this is like way back in the 90s, his name was Mala, and he was from India, and he pretty much devoted his life to getting his hair. That was his deal. He went and got a master's degree, because if you have a master's degree, it's easier to immigrate into the United States. He became a computer programmer, he got a good paying job, and the whole thing was one elaborate mission to somehow get hair again. That's why he moved to America, earned money, everything. He just wanted to have hair. That was Mala. I'll never forget him for it. So, yeah, you're not alone in thinking that this is kind of difficult to live with. You know, that happens. I do think, though, that you can just sort of chin up and be okay. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It's way bigger in your head than it is in everybody else's. Kind of like braces on a teenager, you know? While to you, your whole sort of, you know, sense of self-image has been distorted, to everybody else, you're normal. You know, a 13, 14-year-old with braces is just like a 20-something guy losing his hair. You know, a bunch of guys go through that, whatever. Like, they're not thinking about it in the same way that you do. And you certainly, you know, like, you should never feel like this at the doctor's office and the and job interviews and stuff like that. They're not interviewing based on hairline, I promise you. So, yeah, rock it. And I know you said it's hard to rock the bald look. You know, think twice about that. If you don't want to, you can always shave the top with like a 1 or 2. I think that's also a pretty strong look, unless you've got like a weird balding thing with maybe like just a circle patch on your forehead. Some guys get that particular balding pattern, and you know that one doesn't look good with any hair at all. But when you say like I don't think I can pull off, you know, the bald thing, I think you underestimate how many people can pull it off. Even skinny white guys. Heck, you know, Malcolm's dad from Malcolm in the Middle looks awesome with the shaved head. You gotta look at least that good. Come on, man. You'd be Breaking Bad badassness. I'm contemplating suicide. An older sister who made it her life's goal to undermine me and make me feel useless at everything I did. A shocking divorce between my parents, constant bullying, and fear of going to school. An abusive stepmother who would constantly make fun of me because I'm fat, a dead stepdad who became a father figure to me because my dad chose my stepmom over me. And my dream job seems less likely every passing minute because my auntie got drunk and told me I'm not funny and that no one would ever come to watch me. My dream job is to become a comedian. My sister is expecting a second child, and I don't want my niece and nephew to grow up hearing from their mother how much of a fuck-up I am. It may not seem like much to you, but for me it's enough to slit my wrists and watch the blood hit the floor. Tell me why I shouldn't do it, Woody. I would just love to see a response. Yeah, I'll tell you why. It gets better. It really does. To me, like, what really causes people to contemplate suicide is this lack of hope. For people that don't know, when I was 17, I tried to kill myself. If I were to sum up my issues in a nutshell, it really came down to like two parallel factors. One, I got really, really bad grades. And two, as kind of a way to motivate me and make me understand the impact of really bad grades, my parents, especially my father, would tell me that I had no future. You know, he would outline the path I was on and describe it as like a one-bedroom apartment in total poverty. You know, just like living a really, really unhappy life, having a really difficult time ever getting a girlfriend because who would want to be with such a loser? Like, that was what I thought the rest of my life was going to be like. And because of that, I tried to kill myself. I did. You know, most of you know this story, so quickly, I took I think it was a dog leash, like a nylon thing, looped it through itself, and hung it on a skylight that we had in our bathroom. And it had this like hook for opening and closing it. Anyway, the hook broke and I fell to the ground, and that's why I'm here telling you that it gets better. It does get better. Like, in reading this and hearing about your sister and your parents and stuff, it's obvious to me that you're a teenager. Teenage years can be tricky to navigate, and you know, time periods like 3 or 4 years seem so long to you. You know, when you're 14, I'm talking about a third of your life. That's like, you know, hundreds of years to a guy like me. It gets better. It does. You know, you're going to find your way through. You're going to get girls. You're going to get married. You're going to have kids. You're going to find love. You're going to have some career success. You're like, all these things that I'm telling you are actually true. And they're not even uncommon, and they're not even particularly lofty goals. Like, you can do this. You know, being a comedian's an interesting job. And it's not just about, like, you know, whipping out funny one-liners or something like that. It's about crafting jokes. It's about stringing together a routine that tells a story. You know, if you watch the greats do this, like the Louis C.K. or I like Joe Rogan a lot, you know, they don't just go up there and say funny things for 1 second. They're telling a story. Chris Rock has a theme that runs from the beginning to the end. It won't be good on your first try, but if you keep at it, you can be good. And that'll be good for you. Like, I hope it happens. Regardless of what your future holds, though, it's a whole lot better than what you have right now. I'm sorry that your stepdad passed away. You know, that sucks, and it's a blow that isn't easy to just sort of, you know, come back from. But God, don't slit your wrists. You know, that's not how this is done. It's that your next step here is to form a personal relationship with someone who helps you feel better about yourself. Yeah, it's probably a guy friend. When I was depressed, I kind of shunned all my guy friends. I kind of like, I just didn't have time for them. I would sleep in the afternoon, and then I'd be awake too late at night. My schedule was a great big mess. I didn't like go out and hang and do the sorts of things that recharge my emotional batteries. And like, that's what you need to do. You know, kick your own butt. Spring is coming. You know, for me, springtime is like a big get well feeling kind of thing. Like, it has a huge impact on my happiness. So, you know, it's coming for you too. get outside and do something that makes you happy, and you know, just kick your own butt and put it into gear. It's rough because I get that when you're depressed, that is the hardest thing to make yourself do, but it is the next step in this thing. If things start getting ugly for you, I put 2 links in the description for suicide hotlines. I couldn't quite tell if you were American or British by the way you wrote your email. So, you know, check those out, keep them down, and if you find yourself on the edge, actually call them and actually tell them what you're going through. But the spot that you're in is not a permanent place. There is more coming for you. It's going to get better. You know, when your mom makes fun of you because you're fat, you know, sometimes that's just a fucked up parenting way of trying to make things better for you. Like it's a bad motivator, and it's not because she hates you. It's because, you know, she's looking to change something about you, and she's going about it the wrong way. Being a parent isn't easy. Mistakes were made. Someday you'll be a parent. You'll make them too. Hopefully not the same ones, but make a note of the phone number in the description, whichever one fits you, and don't just let this go by. Don't do it.